All right, so today we're going to be talking about One for All, but I'm also going to have to go into manga spoilers. Going to be talking about what's currently going on. So if you don't want to know what's going to happen past season 4 of the anime, I suggest you check out now. So let's explain what One for All is, the quirk. So we need to, we can set that foundation to go, further into the video after that. So at first, One for All was just a quirk that allowed you to pass on itself to others. So it's basically like a nothingness quirk. It did nothing except give itself to others, and it had no other abilities besides that. It's very strange. Now, you might be thinking, well, he definitely got the short end of the stick, and at first he absolutely did. But what he was given was the foundation for the greatest power the world will ever know. It's kind of like somebody giving you, like, I don't know, stock for like Apple in the early 80s or something. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? It's like, in time, you'll find out, and you'll be the strongest, the most rich person, whatever in the world in time. It's kind of like that, because All for One, for some reason, gave him a power stockpiling quirk. Now, I guess it's implied that he gave it to him because his brother was weak. He wasn't like strong and aggressive the way that All for One was, so he wanted to toughen him up by giving him this power stockpiling quirk. Maybe he thought that like over time it would make him stronger, therefore, he would get a little more testosterone, I suppose, or something like that, whatever. But foolishly, All for One gave him his best quirk. That's right, I think the power stockpiler quirk is probably the best quirk that All for One could have used. And yeah, even better than like his energy manipulation quirk that we saw him using against Nana and all that stuff, because as we'll see, this stockpiling quirk is basically we're gaming the quirk system. As I mentioned in the thumbnail, that's what this is all about, and I'll get more into that, of course. But it's also understandable that All for One foolishly gave this quirk to his brother, because I assume at that time he hadn't met Yujiko yet, meaning that he didn't know about the quirk singularity. It's possible that Yujiko wasn't even born yet. I don't know, but if he would have, met Yujiko, found out about the quirk singularity, All for One definitely would have kept the stockpiling power quirk, because it benefits from time and effort. And that All for One has. He has the longevity quirk. What was it called? Life Force or something? There were so many translations to that. Vitality, I think it was called. So he's already lived for over 100 years. So if he had the stockpiling quirk that whole entire time, he would, in theory, be just as strong as All Might, right? But no, he gave it away, and it was that moment in time where he sealed his own fate, and also, ironically, achieved his goal of creating the most powerful quirk ever, or just creating the most powerful thing in existence, because that was his old goal with All for One. Use that quirk to become the ultimate power, but he gave One for All the stockpiling quirk, and that allowed it to defeat him. So now it's at this point that One for All and the power stockpiling quirk merge together and become one quirk, which is, One for All, the one that we know now. But anyway, passing on brings us to where things get muddy, at least chronologically, because we don't really know what happens fully after this point. So according to my boy Turtle Quirk's Bakugo time travel theory, which I think is 80% accurate. I'm going to be talking about in my follow-up video tomorrow about the end of the series. One for All is going to pass on the quirk to Bakugo, and then Bakugo is going to pass it on to Kirishima, who also goes back in time, and then Kirishima is going to pass it on to the dude with the marking on the left side of his face. That guy's going to pass it on to the Best Genius looking dude. Best Genius is going to pass it on to Daigoro, and then Daigoro will pass it on to Nana, and then Nana will pass it on to All Might. And that's where the beginning of the end it truly starts. Now, before this, it's implied that the previous users kind of passed on One for All in like a panic. It was like a last resort. Like, they were literally on their deathbeds passing this on just so that it could survive. So it wasn't like they had a lot of time to like manifest this and make it more powerful and have the stockpiling power quirk have more time and accumulate more stuff. That didn't really happen until All Might, or at least it's implied. I mean, maybe there was, some power accumulated. I mean, it had to have, even if it was like maybe for a minute. I don't know. We don't get the exact times here, but what I'm saying is that by the time All Might gets the One for All, it's powerful, but it's nowhere near as powerful as we see All Might become. At least that's the impression that I got, and we'll go more into that. But first, I want to go back to gaming the system, because not only All Might is gaming the system here, but also the quirk itself along with the vestiges. because we're going back to the quirk singularity. So remember, the whole theory that Yujiko came out with, that quirks will progressively get stronger and stronger as they are hereditarily passed on or just passed on, and it'll eventually get to the point of where they're so powerful that existence can no longer continue, essentially. And we're seeing that they are gaming the quirk singularity here with One for All by passing it on 9 times. This is basically recreating, 9 or 10 generations of a lineage. So, like, you would see, like, a quirk being passed on that, many times. I don't know. It would take around, 250 years or something like that. But in this case, this has happened in about 100 years or so. So they're going, they're speeding up this more than double. And they're getting to the point of where we're seeing quirks that wouldn't be this powerful, at least for another 150 years. At least that's the way I'm seeing it here. Because now this quirk being passed on 9 times and being benefited through the quirk singularity's, growth effect, that many times has caused this quirk to create its own supernatural universe, like its own pocket dimension, where within this, all of the quirk factors of the previous users are stored. Now the quirk is a part of that too. Now it's just not the passing on ability. Now it's just not the power stock piler. Now it is the quirks of all of the other users. We saw Daigoro had black whips. Nana has float. We don't know what Bez Genus and the Scar face dude has, but then he's going to get Bakugo's hardening quirk, and then Bakugo's explosion quirk, and then Kirishima's hardening quirk. On top of that, because of the way that they have gamed the system with this quirk and making it so powerful. So not only that, okay, it's getting another ability, and that's like a bit of their consciousness is somehow left within this quirk into this supernatural universe that they've created where they can communicate with each other's force ghosts. Okay, yeah, that's what this is. Horikoshi loves Star Wars. I talk about it all the time in these videos, how he draws a lot of inspiration, but One for All being passed on this many generations, this quickly, has created the force within one quirk. And that brings me to All Might, who is the one who truly gamed the system here and assured that humanity would be saved, but also doomed at the same time. So let's go back to when the One for All got passed on to All Might from Nana. So after this, we know that All Might goes on like a serious training rampage in America. He has some serious growth. After that, he comes back, and then the timeline's kind of muddy, but he eventually gets so strong that he defeats All for One, and then he gets nerfed after that. So in between that time of Nana giving him One for All and him going to America, training, coming back, I don't know how much time. It could be like 30 years. Somewhere around there, maybe 40 years, something like that. But regardless, even if it is 30 years, that means that for those 30 years, All Might has gamed and grinded the power accumulation quirk. That's why it is so unbelievably powerful right now. That's why All Might is the fastest, the strongest, the most durable, and has all those insane superhuman physicality to him. Because he grinded out this power accumulation ability of One for All, along with it being passed on, 7 times before that, being boosted by the quirk singularity. So now he is assured that this is the strongest quirk ever, just purely from grinding it out. And also, like I said, this assures that humanity is doomed because One for All, as it is designed to be passed on to others, right? Further strengthening it. And this is what All Might wants, of course. And he gives it to Izuku. But in theory, it being passed down after Izuku and after that, however long it takes, will eventually destroy existence. Because it will be so strong at that point that it doesn't matter how skilled you are, no how much you've trained. And another thing that shows us the growth of this quirk, through the quirk singularity and it being passed on, is that All Might wasn't able to speak to the vestiges or tap into their previous quirks, but he did see them before. And that was kind of showing us that was the beginning of that. Now, granted, he still did get the vestiges power boost, like when he was at his limit and he needed to tap more into power to overcome the USJ Nomu, to overcome All for One. They gave him that power. So by that time, the quirk had unlocked that ability. But after he passed it on to Izuku, now it has unlocked the ability to where he can speak to the previous users and they can receive his quirk. All fascinating stuff to me. I don't know. I just love this. I hope you found this interesting, because if you did, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you extra weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.